by stating, got it. By stating Kansas Open Meeting Act guidelines. Due to distance, health, and safety concerns, members of the public are not in attendance at this meeting. However, full access to this meeting is being provided by a medium of interactive communication. This virtual medium will provide members of the public without cost the ability to listen using teleconferencing as available. The agenda for this meeting has been posted on the Kansas Public Square website and may be requested by emailing the Kansas African American Affairs Commission office at kaaac.ks.gov. Each member of the commission, staff, and guests will state their name and title each time they begin speaking or voting so that the individuals can be readily identified by remote listeners. All participants are required to ensure that microphones, telephones, or electronic devices are muted when not speaking so that the ability of remote listeners or observers to hear the meeting is not unnecessarily impeded. A public comment opportunity will be provided at the beginning of each commission meeting, following the roll call and chairman's opening comments. During this meeting, the commission will not recess to a closed executive session pursuant to KSA 7543-19. Each motion, if any, will be clearly stated and restated before the commission, and the chairperson will announce the results of the final vote. Commissioners and guests, please note that this meeting is being recorded. Thank you and welcome to the Kansas African American Affairs Commission meeting.
Okay. Well, we can go through a quick roll call. Well, I know who else here because I can see you. Commissioner McCormick.
Present.
Dr. Beryl New.
Present.
Dr. Anthony Lewis.
Present.
Dr. Trent Davis.
Present.
Talia Penn.
Present.
And Jonathan Westbrook.
Present.
Thank you. Now, since we're recording, I will make a note that Commissioner Jonathan McRoy has contacted me to state that his intent is to come to this meeting. He's running late. He had another engagement that he could not get out of. So I will let him in when he gets here. All right. Thank you very much. We can go on with the opening remarks.
This is Commissioner McCormick, Chairman. I just wanted to say, and our executive director will get into this a little bit later, but I'm going to say out at the onset that I really feel like we need to meet more often in order to meet any of the challenges that we want to take on. I'm not sure that our quarterly calendar puts us in a position to do what we need to do. So whether we meet once a month, every other month, we just need to meet more often than we are now. And that'll be my contribution, at least right now, to what we have in store for the rest of this meeting. Thank you.
Keep going through the agenda here. There's space for public comment, but I can tell that there's no one from the public who's at the meeting, so we'll go on. And we don't have a special guest today, so I'll just go to the executive director update. Lots is going on. The lunch and learns have started, and they are every Monday at noon, and they're live stream on Facebook. Then I also have them posted on the YouTube page. KAAAC actually has a YouTube page. We've had a YouTube page for 12 years, but now I've got access to it. And so with both the YouTube channel, any things that goes on the web or the YouTube channel or the Facebook page, it would be fantastic if you guys could reshare or retweet. Every once in a while I tweet things, subscribe to the Facebook page and the YouTube channel, all those things that help the algorithms, right? And so one of the most frequent complaints that is levied against our commission is that people don't know we exist. They just don't even know we exist, much less what we do. So as much as you can in your own individual channels, spread the word. Usually what I try to do after the lunch and learns is that same day, any links that we've talked about in the lunch and learn, any information that may have come out in the lunch and learn, I email it out afterward For a while, I was emailing it ahead of time, and I thought I don't want to email people twice in one day. So I email it out afterward with a link to the YouTube video, any links that we talked about, and any other information. To sometimes people will give me things and say, hey, can you spread this out? And so I'll put everything in that Monday email. So if you could share that out or do any of those things, that will help. So yes, it's just up to all of us to do what we can do to help ourselves be known to the community. Secondly, we've been doing these Black leadership brunches around the state. The first one with coordination with the Kansas Black Leadership Council. Carrie Gooch and Noreen Spears over there have been really extremely helpful, and the Community Voice newspaper. The first one was in Wichita, and that was so successful. I mean, I remember Carrie and I looking at each other saying we probably should do this again. So we did one in Topeka, and that was so successful. We're like, oh no, we pretty much have to do this again. And we did one in Lenexa. And we were like, oh, I think we need to take this on the road. And so now actually on November 5th, there's going to be one in the Lawrence area. And Dr. Anthony Lewis will be talking at that one on November 5th. And Dr. Davis, keep your eyes open, because we're looking further to slowly make our way west. These Black leadership brunches with cooperation with KBLC are not quite like the town hall meeting like we had in Wichita that Talia Penn was at and McCormick was at. McRoy was at. I still think that there's a place for that. Like, I think we need to do both. And in my mind, they seem to be two separate things. The town hall, much like we did in Wichita, was really like a listening tour. Like, we're here to actually, hand out the cards, write down your questions. We want to hear what's coming from the people. Whereas these brunches, honestly, like I said, they started as an idea that kind of snowballed, is almost more of a getting the Black people in a town together, right? And just as almost an encouragement, hey, a networking opportunity. The one in Lenexa, we were very purposeful about inviting like clergy, book publishers, people in the education field. Like, we specifically didn't invite just one type of person. We just focused on inviting Black people, because hey, why not? I can be unashamedly Black at this point in my life. And some of the feedback we got was that it was just very encouraging to be in that space where so often in a lot of our lives, we're the only Black face in so many of the rooms that we move through. To be able to sort of bring us together and be able to talk and share and make connections was very helpful. The last thing I do want to report about, because I can't remember if I said it last time or when this happened, but KBLC again got awarded $246,000 for the Increase the Reach grant and had listed KAAAC as a sponsor. So with KAAAC and the Community Voice and KBLC, we are doing a lot of ads in the Community Voice, specifically focused on health disparities in the Black community, and then COVID, because that was part of the thing to get the Increase the Reach money, you have to talk about COVID. So vaccine disparities, but then also broadening it out to health disparities in the Black community in general. So those ads have been going out if you pay attention to the Community Voice. Some other things, I know that every once in a while, if there's an event going on in your town, I'll say, hey, do you want to go? I'll cover the cost of a ticket. Hey, do you want to go? Do you want, I'll cover the cost of a ticket, or if something comes across my way that is in your specific town or at least general area, I contact people to say, hey, this is happening. Are you aware of it? Do you want to go? I know, for example, about 5 tickets to the Wichita NAACP banquet, and we're sponsoring we're one of the sponsors for TCAM Trailblazers fundraiser. So as things pass my desk, as much as I can get paper trails and get things paid, I'm trying to spread the wealth as much as possible. That funding is coming from the Kansas Foundation presidential grant that I received last year. I still have $26,000 left to spend. So if there's something that you would like for us to sponsor, if it's an NAACP banquet, or like Dr. Davis, I know it was Excel was the program you highlighted in the Martin Luther King video last year. If there's anything that you think we should sponsor or buy a table to, or get an ad in the book, let me know, and I'll try to keep track of that. So that's my brief update of what I've been doing over here in Topeka and Olathe. Any questions or? No?
This is Commissioner McCormick. I'll mention that I was at the Kansas Black Leadership Luncheon. It really was, it really had a nice atmosphere. I think there was a perfect intersection between those of us who missed these kinds of gatherings over the pandemic, but also people feeling like, okay, it's time for us to meet, start comparing notes, and start moving forward on some of our campaign plans. It was a really nice event that a few officials attended, so we got to hear from them, but not campaign speeches, more education about what was happening in the state. So
thank you. And so yes, I'm excited about the one coming up that will have Dr. Lewis talking about his work on the CREJ. Okay, old business, the town hall, that the Wichita town hall is the old business. I would still love to do a town hall in all of your respective areas. So if you would like to, please, but what I will say is that I'm relying on the commissioner in that area to really sort of do the legwork to get it set up. I live in Olathe. I'm not super familiar with where's a good place in Salina, or where's a good place that will hold it, who might be someone who could facilitate it in Salina or Topeka or, Wyandotte County. So I'm really hoping, and similarly to what I've always said, is to raise the profile of the commission and raise the profile of the commissioners, not raise my profile. I do enough, but to have you guys help out with that. Yes, Dr. Davis.
Did you have a facilitator in Wichita? And the reason I'm asking, we're setting up something similar for our city commission, and just in the discussion of how we should structure the discussion, we realized we got so far in the weeds. So, well, this settles the question of whether or not we need a facilitator other than one of us. Did you use someone locally or someone? I'm blocking on the facilitator we had from Wichita for our retreat. But did you use her or someone else, or just someone local?
We Jonathan McRoy found a facilitator in the Wichita area. So it was that, because, for example, I would not know who would be a good facilitator in Wichita outside of the person who we use for our strategic planning. The person who facilitated, oh, I can see his face now. I can't come up with his name. Do you remember his name?
This is Commissioner McCormick. It was Dion Gates.
That's it. But Commissioner McRoy is the one who found him. And what we did to sort of guide, shape the conversation was that we had cards, like 4x6 cards, and encourage people to write down comments or questions on the cards. And then the facilitator read the questions, and then myself or Commissioner Penn or Commissioner McCormick or Commissioner McRoy answered the question sort of in turn.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and then the new business. So here's the crux of why I called this meeting, is to discuss, and this is the discussion. I don't have my mind set up, and I totally would like input and for us to discuss this, our meeting cadence. As things are sort of coming our way, as a commission, I feel as though it would be very helpful if we met monthly. You know me, I'm going to work very hard to keep these meetings to an hour. I know you are all very busy, influential people, and I do not wish to waste your time. But if we could meet monthly to check in to see if there's anything that the commission wants to weigh in on, just to make sure that I'm hearing from you, really is what it comes down to. Because there are a lot of things coming my way, a lot of things with economic opportunity, business opportunities. Believe it or not, apparently we're now involved in revitalization of Nicodemus, Kansas. And then just recently, it's come across my desk that 20 years ago, there were efforts to have a mural of the 1st Black Infantry, a mural done in the Capitol, and they've picked up those efforts again. So because KAAC was so involved in the Board v. Brown mural, KAAC KLRD and the Historical Society reached out again saying, hey, if this starts up again, do you wish to be involved? So there are things that KAAC's name is coming up. And I have been doing a whole lot on my own, and I have never wished to do a whole lot on my own. I've always wished to involve the commission as much as possible. So I would really like to discuss, is there a meeting cadence that will fit everyone's schedule? If we could just say it's the third Tuesday or whatever, that we think we could have a reliable turnout. So that's my question.
This is Commissioner Davis. Anytime other than Monday afternoon would work for me, but I think you're spot on as far as the monthly frequency.
This is Commissioner New, and I would agree. I'm wondering, is Friday at 1 from 1 to 2 convenient more than any other day? I know my Mondays are pretty full, but this works out perfectly, but that's just for me.
This is Commissioner Lewis. I do certainly appreciate the acknowledgement of the need to meet more frequently. And the Fridays at 1 definitely will work for me.
This is Commissioner Jonathan Westbrook. The Fridays at 1 o'clock are probably the best time for me as well.
This is Commissioner Talia Penn, and that works for me as well. Friday at 1 o'clock is probably the best time. My question is, what is the requirement? Is there a bylaw? Like, was it supposed to be quarterly? Is that what the requirement was? Okay.
Yes. Which is why there are like the quarterly meetings are already set. They're already publicly noticed. They're out there. I just picked a Friday quarterly, but I'm just finding that there's stuff happens too quickly to wait for a quarterly meeting.
Commissioner Davis, the other nice thing about 1 o'clock on Friday, that gives me a whole lunch hour to tie up loose ends and actually be ready at 1 o'clock for the meeting,
Okay.
rather than try to interrupt office hours and wedge out that space. It's actually a great time.
Fantastic.
This is Commissioner McCormick. Given that we have such agreement on time, we ought to seize the moment and say, yeah, let's meet now. Because I can make that work as well.
We could arbitrarily say, let me look at a calendar. Let me actually pull up a calendar. Today is the last Friday. And then of course we're gonna vote on this, and then we have Thanksgiving and Christmas right away. So we're gonna immediately be off schedule. Because I was gonna say we could just say the last Friday, but then of course that runs directly into Thanksgiving and directly into Christmas. So perhaps, but however, I think we do need to meet in November and December, mainly because Martin Luther King Day is in January. So that's the unfortunate thing about like we do need to meet to be able to talk about what our plan is for the Martin Luther King celebration, and then / proclamation, all the things that happen. So if we say,
This Commissioner Davis, a lot of federal holidays just sort of seem to end up on the second or third Monday for some strange reason. So the first, and the reason I mentioned that, a lot of people make that into a 3-day, 4-day vacation. The first, other than, I guess, unless New Year's fell on a Monday, on a Friday, the first is second might be easier, because at the end of the month, you're gonna Thanksgiving, November, December are a wash.
yeah,
Memorial Day is going to be a wash. There are a lot of big holidays that come at the end of the month.
okay. Well, we could look at, so in November, we have November 4 and November 18. And then December, we have 2, 9, 2, 9, and 16. I skipped November 11th only because I will be at a Kansas Leadership Center training on that day. So I will be unavailable, but November 4, November 18, and then December 2, 9, and 16 are options. So if we just want to, honestly, I think we are set to, our quarterly meeting is December 2nd. And I can just adjust it to 1 o'clock because I think I had just arbitrarily said 2:30 just to get them on the calendar. So I can bump the December 2nd one to 1 o'clock. So we can just decide on, why don't we go November 18th? Because that, we don't need to meet like in 3 weeks. Would that work for everyone?
Commissioner Davis here. I don't know if anyone else here is going, but the National League of Cities is having their national meeting in Kansas City that weekend.
Of the 18th of November?
Yeah, 17th, 18th, 19th. Now, I mean, I can break out for an hour. I will probably be wanting a reason to break out for an hour and a half. So if I'm the only one that's affecting, then let's go the 18th if that's what everyone else's preference is.
Is everyone okay? The 1 o'clock on November 18th? That's a Friday.
I'll be out of town, so I can't do that one.
Okay. If we're just missing one, we'll do that. And then November 2nd is already scheduled as our meeting date. And I will just adjust the time at 1 p.m. Okay, fantastic.
This is Chair McCormick. One question for you, Executive Director Stacy. Should we devote any discussion to whether these need to be, or any number of these need to be in person versus Zoom? Or, do we want to just try and do them all on Zoom unless otherwise specified? I'd like to throw that out there for discussion.
This is Commissioner Lewis. Thank you, Commissioner McCormick. I was thinking the same thing and really thinking about, additional opportunities to engage the public, although this Zoom platform can be available to them. Since by our bylaws, we are to have at least quarterly meetings. Do we look at those quarterly meetings as in person? Because much as I love seeing you all on the screen, it's nothing like that fellowship in person.
Lots of thumbs up. No one's talking, but okay.
Commissioner Davis, I guess if you need something verbal, I think it would be great if we had our quarterly meetings in person. And, as the need arises, we may move some of the other monthly ones too, but at least we know we have a minimum of 4 times a year we're going to be in the same room. And some things you can just do in person, looking at faces and eyes and body language that you just can't read off a screen.
Okay.
My only concern is how often are we going to be expected to meet in person? Is that the quarterly meetings or is that the monthly? Because I don't know if I can do monthly.
I think the discussion is just the quarterly.
Okay. And that's the next one is scheduled for the 2nd of December. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how about the reimbursement for the travel as well? Because I didn't get any verification on that.
You know what? Let me follow up on that. Did you fill out any forms that they gave you?
I did.
I will follow up on that.
This is
Definitely.
Commissioner Jonathan Westbrook. I'm sorry. I agree. The quarterly would be, I'd be good with that. The meeting in person.
Okay. Okay. So let me sum up what I've got down in my notes. This is Executive Director Stacy. I should say this for the recording. Fridays at 1 o'clock seem to be universally accepted as a good meeting time. We are in agreement that a more frequent meeting is helpful for the good of the body, for the good of the work. Monthly is fine, and that to work for having the quarterly meetings being person. So only 4 times a year would we be in person. The remainder of the meetings would be Zoom. Okay. I'm going to check on reimbursement for those travel expenses. It's my understanding, Commissioner Penn, that getting into the system is the hardest part. Once a person's in the system, it shouldn't be difficult, but I will follow up on that.
This is Commissioner McCormick. I'm wondering about one more aspect of this in terms of our meeting schedule. Should we put out a press release indicating that we will begin meeting monthly and that our regularly scheduled quarterly meetings will be in person, in case people want to come to those meetings and want to know when we're meeting?
Thoughts?
Commissioner Davis, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I think, yeah, any type of messaging, that reinforces our existence and our presence and ability to meet with us would be great.
This is Commissioner New, and I would definitely concur. And I think that maybe when we share that, we plan to have our meetings in a place where we can accommodate visitors, because I think at the office there at 9th and Jackson, I don't know how many could fit in that other than us. So it's just a thought.
This is Director Nell. Don't know how to say my own last name. Yeah, if I know this in advance, it's nothing to get a conference room over in the Capitol. I can definitely accommodate that.
Okay, so this is Commissioner McCormick. I will write something up and share it with all of you for your edits and your comments. And then I'll give it to our executive director who can put it on letterhead and get it out. Many thanks.
Do we need to vote on any of this? I mean, since this is an official meeting, we can actually do business. I am not up to speed with the Robert's Rules of Order, so someone may have to hold me accountable.
Well, this is Commissioner Davis. I move that we establish a monthly meeting schedule on the actual Friday can be determined, but the quarterly meetings in person, the other meetings in Zoom, and the next two meetings to be November 18th and December 2nd.
We have a motion on the floor. This is Commissioner McCormick. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second or any discussion?
This is Commissioner Talia Penn. Just one more discussion. I'm sorry, because I have to check on multiple calendars. On the 2nd of December, it's going to be a little bit hard because my husband's out of town and I still got kids at school. So coming up to Topeka will be a little bit difficult. So in event for those issues that happen, just life, is there a way that we can do a hybrid that we can also Zoom in as well? That was my only thing.
Commissioner Davis, I think having the availability of that would be good because, 7 people, 4 meetings, that's 28 chances for something to come up in a conflict for any of us. So it's nice to have the available technology. And we may have a speaker who we're going to bring into a meeting. The speaker may be remote and we'd have to use the same technology anyway.
Well, this is Executive Director Nell. We did that for the strategic planning.
Yep.
So I would need to go back through the same channels and get something set up.
Right. Just procedural. Did you get a second on the motion?
We didn't. Is there a second?
I think we were still discussing if there is no
Oh,
other.
okay.
Right, because we technically couldn't discuss it until we had a second. That's the reason I was asking. Okay.
This is Executive Director Nell. The motion on the floor is to establish a monthly meeting schedule, the specific Friday to be determined. That meeting will be Friday at 1 and on Zoom, and that quarterly meetings will be in person. That's the motion on the floor.
This is Commissioner Lewis. I second.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? I think we added in the hybrid I think definitely adding hybrid as an option.
It's the only other discussion, the sooner we can get those dates established, the better.
You got it.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye or a thumbs up.
Hi.
Motion carries.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that we did do the strategic planning, and I have not contacted her, Angeline Johnson, since then, because obviously I'd have to start paying her again. So before I establish that again, I wanted to have a discussion of which direction we wanted to go. I think she did a really great job in our previous strategic planning, getting this 30,000 foot overview of what the commission is and sort of division of labor. But now I was hoping to have a discussion, and we've got like 24 minutes left before 2 o'clock, of what direction what as a commission, what do you think we should be doing? Now, I know at the town hall meeting, and I know we have our external critics, I'll use that word, that like to say that we should be doing everything. And while I have read the statute and it covers a lot, I honestly don't think it's feasible for us to do everything that statute lists out. I just don't think it's feasible for us to do 8 things when there's only 8 of us. And you guys all have jobs. Like, this is my job, so maybe I could take on a couple extra. But if it be business and entrepreneurship, a lot of those things are sort of coming my way. Do we want to focus on more town halls? Do we want to pick up this idea of doing more Black leadership brunches? Is there anything that we feel like we should be doing? Is there something, I know that, for example, the CREJ had subcommissions that took up specific things. Perhaps with the mural, if they're going to be serious about doing this First Colored Infantry mural, perhaps that should be something that we should say, okay, during the legislative session, we're going to throw a lot of our energy towards that. So I am open to this. This is me asking you what y'all thinking. I shall turn off my microphone to listen.
This is Commissioner Davis. I think at the strategic planning session, we did have some issues that sort of rose to the top of the list as far as where we wanted to focus energy. And perhaps, an agenda item for that, our next meeting could be to actually officially review our own input in the strategic planning session, because we could then decide, what 2 or 3 things we think we can actually score wins in. I mean, because they may not be the home runs, but if we hit 3 singles the first year and they're all good singles, it builds momentum, for the next year.
This is Commissioner McCormick. I had a couple of thoughts. On one level, part of the discussion should be about to what degree do those of us who are commissioners want to campaign and work directly with constituents on their issues, and to what degree do we feel like this should be an executive director driven commission? That's not something that we've necessarily reconciled.
This executive director now. So I think, that's always, I almost see it as a dance, right? Like, I can read the statute, and I have often read the statute, and I've often said, even in these meetings, that I'm going to be one of the rare executive directors who's trying to get rid of as much power as possible, that this should be a commission-led thing. And I'm just here to help you guys do the things that you want to do. I think due to circumstances that we've been in, it's been me driving this bus pretty hard in whatever direction I feel like driving it. And I would like it to be more of I just don't think that's the way it's supposed to run necessarily. I would love to have more input from the commission on what direction we go in. As things cross my across my path that require quick response, that's fine, right? Like, for example, I'm going to Nicodemus on Monday with some people from the Office of Rural Prosperity to give the lie of the land for their water initiative. I'm not asking any of you guys to come with me to Nicodemus, right? But if something deals with something that's more of a longer scope, then yes, I would love for it to have you more involved, right? If it's the town halls, or if it's the listening tours, or if it's the leadership brunches, these are things I would love to have more of a commission involvement.
This is Commissioner McCormick. I just want to add one more point to that. It seems to me that part of the challenge of leadership is deciding, of all the things we could be doing, what should we be doing? And a lot of leadership is about being able to say no to the extraneous so that you could focus on the things that are central. And for what it's worth, I would like for us to decide as a commission what we'd like to focus on as a commission, and then what we would like to be focused on in our individual roles as commissioners. I hope that made sense.
Commissioner Davis, and to take that one step further, there will be goals that are statewide goals, and there'll be some which will be uniquely local. And any of us can organize something locally, but it does bring a certain authentication of our role, or when there's someone from the Capitol, such as our executive director, representing an organization which in people's minds represents the legislature and the governor. So we're a real point, of discussion. So some will be, local where we need Ms. Knowles' help, and others will be statewide, in which we're all pulling together and hopefully get ideas of how to do it from those of us who are doing it well to begin with.
This is Commissioner Lewis. We certainly cannot make a positive impact statewide without making positive impacts locally. And so I like the idea of really looking at our districts and our areas, and just looking at those 5 priorities. They can certainly apply to our local as well. When we think about, what are some things that the public needs to be aware of, the African-American community in our local community that affects us locally, that obviously probably will impact us on a statewide level as well.
This is Commissioner McCormick, one more thing. I probably don't need to say this, but to me, it bears mentioning again that we're all really busy. We all really need to take a look at our bandwidth and what we're able to do. I have a new job at the ACLU of Kansas. I'm no longer the comms person. I'm the deputy director. So I have new initiatives in that role. I'm also on this commission, and I'm on 2 other boards, one at KU and then one in Topeka that has to do with the Free State Capitol and its restoration. I'm just asking all of you to make sure that before we make a commitment, that you feel like you have the bandwidth to do whatever we're talking about putting forward, because these are very real constraints that we have. We can't do everything, and again, part of leadership is knowing what you can say no to so that you can focus on those central things where we feel like we can make progress.
Well, I like this is executive director. Now, I like the idea of, with our November 18th meeting, I will pull together, all the documents from the strategic planning and share them out, because I know not everyone was able to make it, to review those. And so we can discuss, okay, these are the things that we really want to focus on. So sort of brush up on what was decided in June. And then, or I guess it was July. Actually, I can't remember. And then to decide if we need to do further strategic planning to refine that, or to refine what's our best, mode of, and to get a 3-year strategic plan. This is what we want the commission to do. This is our future goals for the commission. This is how we see the commission operating and serving the community. Like an actual strategic plan, not just us going month by month going, what are we doing? Or is that just me? Is that just me? Maybe that's just me. So hopefully I will get all that material. Let me make myself note, gather all the material from the strategic planning that we did in June, send it out. And so come in November prepared to figure out what we want to do next. Okay.
Commissioner Davis, I was just going to compliment Chairman McCormick's comment. It was one of those, as they say, drop the mic moments. I said, wow, that was very profound, and no one had an answer. Kind of like, yeah, I do need to look at my personal bandwidth to see what's realistic. But words of wisdom. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner McCormick, I'm no commissioner new, but I'm okay.
This is Executive Director Nell. I feel like I've been on the record several times stating that Mark McCormick is a poor representation of what Beryl New is capable of doing and accomplishing. And
Okay. Okay. I won't comment since we are being recorded. And Chairperson McCormick, you're doing a phenomenal job and appreciate all you do. And look forward to your help with our Topeka meeting, town hall meeting.
Mr. McCormick, I'm glad that someone appreciates me.
sticking with the topic at hand. So I did see in the chat that, okay, so a commissioner knew you have an interest in doing a town hall in the Topeka area. And Commissioner McCormick, let me make notes. I need to take notes. Okay.
Commissioner McCormick, I'll be helping there and in Lawrence, and Commissioner Davis, if you need me in Salina, I can come there as well.
Commissioner Davis, greatly appreciate that. And your phone will be ringing.
And I did want to share, I'm happy to do all the groundwork necessary, but as far as finding a facilitator and managing the actual meeting, I'd appreciate someone who's had that experience. So
Definitely. Okay. This is Executive Director. Now, I think because Commissioner McCormick and I did work with McRoy on putting together the Wichita Town Hall. Talia, thank you so much for all the help she provided. Poor Talia, she just got thrown in so quickly, so new. Suddenly we're like, this is what's going on. Get ready, show up. So hopefully between the lot of us, we can pull together a town hall, a successful one in the Topeka area. So yes. Okay. It is 1:49. We have, but a few scant moments left because we will be done before 2. Darn it all. I'm going to get you guys out of this meeting in an hour if it's the last thing I do. Is there anything else? We've established the meeting. I will send out that it'll be November 18th. We know definitely November 18th and December 2nd. I will look into 2023 and just pick a quarterly. It's probably going to be the first Friday of that quarter at 1 o'clock. I will publicly notice those and get those all out. So it'll be on the schedule. You'll start seeing a whole bunch of calendar invites coming your way over the next couple of days. The next meeting on November 18th, I will pull together everything that we had done at the previous strategic planning for review so that we can have, sort of refresher of what we talked about. Because quite frankly, I'm not even sure I remember everything we talked about. and ideas for what to do next. And I do appreciate Commissioner McCormick's suggestions to actually take a little self-reflection, to figure out really what is the bandwidth that we each individually have in order to do what we can with the commission. I've even said it today. I understand this is my job. So obviously I can devote 8 hours a day to doing nothing but thinking about what this commission is doing. But y'all are the talented 10th, right? So I mean, please, so if we need to take some serious deep looks about what our bandwidth is, I think that's a wise move forward. Are there any other announcements, or is there anything else we need to discuss?
Commissioner Davis, I just happened to be flipping through the calendar, and you would probably catch up on this anyway, but the first, I'm sorry, I looked at the calendar wrong. I was worried about July 4th weekend, but that won't be a problem because the first Friday would actually be the 7th.
Oh, okay.
Right, so schedule away, we will await your act.
Gotcha.
Hey, this is Director Nell. This is Commissioner Westbrook. I had a small question, or hopefully not. It's not going to lead us too far over, but the facilitators that we're using, like, is there a budget that we have for those facilitators?
Not necessarily a budget. Most of this KAAC's budget is pretty tight. And so almost everything that we've done has been paid for out of the Kansas Health Foundation grant.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all the, like when I buy tickets for these things or sponsorships for the TCAM, paying for the facilitator, paying for the space that we did the town hall, it has all come out of the Health Foundation grant.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis, yeah, I think you just identified perhaps one of our measures to work on next year, which is increasing our budget.
Yes.
It's a wish list.
And
That
this is
would take a lot.
Yeah, this is Commissioner McCormick. If we don't have any other discussion, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion on the floor. We have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Well, all right. Let's thank our executive director for a very efficient meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I will send out notes, and again, I'll figure out all the dates and start kicking out calendar invites.
All right.
All right.
Good to see everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.